Life wanted to give you our third month review of being on the road. You'll notice we're in a little bit of a different setting. We'll go over kind of personal updates at the end of the video, but we are currently stationary, did buy a house, and so we are in the process of renovating, which is why Ben is a little bit of a mess in our video today. But what we're going to go over is our third month review when we're on the road, and this is going to include our stats, finances, our route of where we went, and then just kind of some top favorites, moments, and places that we've seen as well. We'll have a link in the description, so you can definitely jump to different sections that you're most interested in if you would prefer. But first off, I guess, is just an overview of where we were for the month.
Yep, so we spent the majority of the month in Florida. So we started off in Crystal River was where we left off month 2. That's on the west coast. We kind of followed the west coast for a little bit and then cut over through Orlando. But we were in Crystal River, and then we went down through Weeki Wachee, down to some of the springs down there. We were in search of manatees, and thankfully we found some. And then we went down, we cut across over to Orlando. I had a buddy of mine coming into town. And then, of course, we can't have a 3-year-old in Florida and not go to Disney, so we had to do a little pit stop over to Orlando. That's when we decided to buy this house as a little life change. We'll have some more updates still. But so we had to kind of change route, and we hightailed it up through Savannah, up over to Duluth up by Atlanta, shot through Nashville, and then back to Kansas City to grab tools for this project and then some baby stuff. And then we headed up through Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then to our final destination here, which is Swartz Creek in Michigan. So we'll have all the details on our map, exactly kind of where we went and why. On to stats. So this was going to be a crazy month in the sense of we were in Florida, made the decision to come back to Michigan, so we covered a lot of ground really fast. Kind of going to be a bit of an abnormality for us. So I know when we did the month 1 review, we said that we covered a lot of ground, did a lot of miles, a lot of hours in the car. And so this month, for instance, we did 3,300 miles. Yet
in 1 month.
In 1 month. Yet in January, when we said we did a lot, we'd only done 2,400 miles.
And then February, we did just over 900.
Yeah.
So we
tripled
spent
that at least.
so much time in the car because we had to jump from Florida back to Kansas City, back to Michigan.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of driving, and that was only in about a week and a half span.
Yeah.
So a lot of driving.
Yeah, so along with those miles came the hours.
Yeah.
So we did 107 hours of driving in comparison to 77 in January and 38 in February. We definitely felt it. Lily definitely felt it.
She was a champ, though.
She did awesome, but just a lot of time in the car. Again, definitely an abnormality for us, hopefully. Otherwise, our nights of camping, we did 14 nights of free camping, which is awesome. We thought that in January, when we had 7 in January and 10 in February, that we had a lot of free camping. So we were up to 14. Again, a lot of that was just from our drive back up to Michigan. We were trying to go fast. We
frequented a lot of Walmarts.
Yeah, we did a lot of Walmart. A couple Cabela's.
We did our first Boondockers Welcome.
Yep.
And we did that in Weeki Wachee Springs. And so that was interesting to definitely try that out. So that was our first time. And then we stayed at a couple of family members for a couple of nights. So that included our free camping. Yep.
And then we were down to, that left us with 14 nights in an RV park. We had 11 in January, 10 in February, so we were up a little bit. But one of the better ones, we were in Rock Crusher, Rock Crusher Canyon, down in Crystal River. And I think of the places that we've paid to stay.
The resorts.
Of the resorts that we stayed in, that was my favorite by far. They had a nice heated pool, the most comfortable we've been in with a big screened-in.
We still prefer the state parks and things like that. Unfortunately, this past month, we only did 3 nights in a state park in Smithville right outside of Kansas City so we could go back and get all of our stuff. And so we really didn't get to enjoy any of the really awesome state parks in Florida, which we were hoping to. So that was a bit of a bummer, but we did, the couple that we stayed at that we paid for were, they were nice. Mm-hmm. They were nice, so.
Yep.
So overall, 16 nights paid in March. So that's kind of it for stats. On to finances for the month. So again, going through the same disclaimers as past months, want to let you know that our truck and trailer are paid off at this time. We also don't include for medical anything to do with the baby, just because for a lot of people that want to have a comparison of how much it costs to be on the road, we want to be able to give you kind of that realistic expectation without something that you're probably not taking into consideration. So anything medical for baby is not included. And then you may hear off and on here and there that we do have a lake house, and then we're also doing the house flip. So anything related to lake house or house flip are kind of two separate entities. So just letting you know on that. So this is really just our normal expenses, living expenses when we're on the road. Let's see. So for average month on the road, we are looking at $3,870, and we were right on track with that for the month of March for $3,853. So we're definitely saying that over the last 3 months, we've been very, very consistent. Pre-leaving on the road, our average was about $5,000 a month. So we definitely saw a bit of a decrease. In March though, you'll see our campground costs went down significantly, and this was just because we stayed at so many free places. We were hightailing it to get back to Michigan so quick that it seemed like every night we were somewhere free for a couple of weeks. So that helped a ton. Entertainment, our biggest expense for this past month was Disney World. It is so expensive for one day to go to Disney World. So pretty much I think almost our entirety of our entertainment for this past month was going to Disney World for one day.
That was what, $350?
Yeah. Gas, obviously, this went up quite a bit as well, just because of the amount of miles that we were driving. But groceries, as well as our meals out, we did see a decrease. And that was partially too, we did kind of meet up with some friends and family in different places, and they treated us for some dinners and whatnot. So we did have a little bit of meals covered. Let's see. Nothing too outside of the normal. RV maintenance, we had a little bit higher. This was mainly we had to get the truck checked out because we were informed that our transmission is going, and so this was the fee for diagnosis and that kind of stuff, which we're still waiting on getting fixed, but...
we did cut out internet this month too.
Yeah.
So with me being done with corporate America work, we got rid of our AT&T hotspot. We're just using our phones. So that saved us, I think, $70 or $80 a month. Yeah,
we were able to switch our phones, so now each of us have 10 gigs of
free hotspot
data on our cell phones, and so we're able to eliminate all of our internet expense, so that's been really great. Our phone went up a little bit because Ben used to have a work phone, and so now we have just a personal phone. So it brought that up a little bit, but nothing too significant. So overall though, even with kind of all the adjustments across the board, a little bit different in different categories compared to months past, we're still, like I said, within a few dollars of what we've been for the first 2 months of being on the road.
All right, so that's where we are for finances for the third month. On to our top 5 favorite places, things, moments, anything like that for the month. So I think we both agreed on this one that our top was definitely Weeki Wachee, the springs and park and everything that we were at down in Florida.
On the west coast of Florida.
Just north of Tampa.
Yeah. And Weeki Wachee, we heard really great things about it. We really didn't know what to fully expect. It was a little bit of a different experience for us because we did do our first Boondockers welcome there in Weeki Wachee. And so that was just kind of an interesting experience. And then, earlier on in our trip, we bought an inflatable kayak just at Walmart for like $70. And at Weeki Wachee, you can launch a private kayak directly through the state park there, and it was pretty inexpensive.
Like $10, I think.
Yeah, it was right around $10 or something to launch in. And that was so beautiful. The water was crystal clear. We chose a great day to go too. The weather was perfect. It wasn't too hot, too cold. Ben and Lily still went swimming.
It was a good float. I think one of the best parts for us was that, with it being as clear and shallow as it was, I mean, you could, like Lily and I jumped in and just floated alongside the kayak for a lot. I had the GoPro in the water.
Yeah,
but there was so many fish. Like there was fish everywhere. I mean, we saw a monster gar, a bunch of little sergeants. I mean, there was something to see everywhere you looked.
Yeah. And when we first went into Weeki Wachee area, we kind of were doing research on where we wanted to kayak out of, and there are a few different launch points further down from the state park, and we really didn't know what we should do. Word of advice, definitely go to the state park. There is a significant stretch of area that is off limits outside of the state park, and so you really miss out on some really beautiful terrain.
Yeah, that first part was definitely the best.
Yeah. So make sure you definitely go launching from the actual state park. One bummer though is right there at the state park, they do have kind of the more touristy area, and that had like a bit of a water slide, like a water park area. It had the infamous live mermaids for the Weeki Wachee, and of course they were doing renovations before the spring break season hit. So that was a bummer because Lily would have loved to see the live mermaids, but we did miss that. So that was the only kind of downside of when we actually went. But then you could buy a bus ride back from the end point, and it was only $5, so it was totally worth it. Ben just went individually, got the truck, and then picked Lily and the kayak and myself up. So that was nice. But Weeki Wachee, I know a lot of people will say that you can find a lot of manatees when kayaking. We realized we were a little bit late in the season, and so we didn't see any during the majority of the float. But then at the very end, it was really cool. We came on 2 different sleeping manatees, and they were just hanging out at the bottom, like not moving at all, so we could get really up close and personal. We didn't bother them, but we could kind of just see them and be in awe of them while they just kind of sat there, and that was really cool.
Yeah, I think they were only in maybe 4 feet of water, so
yeah.
It was nice and shallow there. I mean,
but poor Lily, she was trying so hard to stay awake, and then she like zonked out right before, and so she didn't get to see them. So that was kind of a bummer. But we swim around, and then like just a little bit down the river there was like this big pit, and there was a few more in there.
3 or 4 more at least.
Yeah. I was pretty tired from swimming and being pregnant, but Ben got to go down and actually get to see him a little bit more close and personal, and those were pretty neat. So
got some good videos out of it.
Yeah. So Weeki Wachee, definitely. I mean, I think we probably, if I could have gone back like every day and done that kayaking trip, I would have. It was really beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our top one. Second, along with the springs, we went to Homosassa Springs. And this we did also take out the kayak. We launched from just a private little launch. We just paid a few dollars to do so. But this was a cool place for us just because we saw our first manatee there. We didn't really know if we were going to see any or not, and so we came on one and got to kind of swim around with them. And then
it's kind of an off day too. Like we didn't have anything planned. It was kind of a last minute. Like, what are we gonna do today? Oh, there's some springs south of us. Sure, let's go.
Yeah, and we didn't even really plan on going to Homosassa Springs, but we were bummed out because we went to the Crystal River Springs. Thought we were gonna see manatees, didn't. So we thought that hey, we'll give it a shot, expecting not to see any, and then we saw one. And then we talked to one of the rangers that was there, and he kind of gave us the inside scoop that on this little cove around the corner, there was a mom, a dad, and a baby manatee that were still kind of hanging around. And so that was really cool. We got to go over there. The water was really murky. Yeah, so we didn't really get a chance to see them too much until they were kind of up on the top. But there were a few locals that had come by, and they had said like that was the smallest baby tiny that they'd ever seen, and so that was really cool. I mean, I think we sat there for close to an hour just kind of watching them. But that was cool. Water in all the springs was really cold but refreshing. We had lunch tucked back in the little cove area when we were at the springs, and that was really nice. So those were a couple of our favorite springs. We really loved that area, and honestly I didn't know that Florida really had that to offer. And so I'm excited for us to make it back down to Florida again and visit some more. because we missed a lot of really cool ones. So.
Yeah. Especially if we go off season when we can actually get into a lot of the parks that we'd like to and see a lot of the places that were all full.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do a little bit better
Lesson learned. We learned a lot of tips and tricks on what to do when RVing in Florida. Future video to come on that because we were naive and we are hoping that we can help other people not be naive like we were. But that's our second favorite. Third is on to Savannah. So Savannah, Georgia is one of those places for me I've always really wanted to go to. And we were planning on spending a good week at least in Savannah. Unfortunately, with the timeline of how it worked out with the house flip, we were only able to stay, was it 1 day or 2 nights? 2 nights.
We were there 2 nights. We explored for 1 day.
Yeah, so we didn't get a lot of time in Savannah, which is kind of a bummer, but the time that we did get, it was worth.
I loved it.
It was worth it. It was a beautiful city as I expected. Just to walk up and down cobblestone streets. We went to, what was it, Jones Street, which is dubbed like one of the most beautiful streets in the country. And so we walked up and down there.
A lot of nice little like squares, parks everywhere. You know, every couple blocks that you'd walk, there'd be a gorgeous green tree, fountains,
I think it said
benches.
there was, don't quote me on this, but I think there was like 22 squares or something in the city. And so we were able to walk past a handful of them. We went to that really beautiful cathedral. There was a lot of just quaint, kind of unique little restaurants and different things. So
a lot less touristy than I expected, which was good. Friendly, quaint, had some character, had some charm, some culture still. Kind of had that New Orleans kind of feel for me. So.
Without the party. So Savannah, we didn't have a lot of time there, but it definitely holds a place in our hearts, and I think we'll definitely make it back.
We'll go back.
Fourth on our list, not necessarily for us, but this was a big one for Lily. So as Ben said, we went through Orlando to meet up with a buddy of his, and during our time there, we went to Magic Kingdom for 1 day. Lily, I mean, she just turned 3, so she's kind of at the age that...
She's in the princess phase.
Yeah, she's full princess, but like doesn't fully appreciate Disney, so we didn't really want to spend a ton of money to go to all the parks. It was such a bummer though. I think our whole time of being on the road, it's maybe rained once, maybe twice, and when we got to Disney, it poured rain for 2 hours. Like, not even just a sprinkle where like you're just kind of getting damp walking around, like it poured rain
Everybody's
for 2 hours.
Ponchos and umbrellas and strollers are soaked and shoes are soaked and everything. So
and it was one of the coldest days too. So it wasn't even. We were so bummed. It was not enjoyable for the first couple hours, but thank God the weather cleared up and we were able to enjoy our time. Lily's highlights was we spent a lot of time waiting in lines for princesses.
Mickey.
She is a full girl, so we saw all of her favorites: Rapunzel, Cinderella, Mickey, Belle, Ariel.
You name it.
We didn't get to meet Anna and Elsa, which is a big one for her, but she got to see them in the parade. And then apparently Moana is moving to Disneyland, so we didn't get to see her either. But she loved it. We only rode 2 rides. We rode the teacups and we rode Dumbo.
Because each one takes about an hour. Hour and a bit.
Lesson learned, do not go to Disney on spring break. So it just so happened like we were meeting up with one of Ben's friends who came down during their spring break. And so it wasn't really that we had planned to go that particular time or anything, but with the rain and with the busyness of spring break, I think the one roller coaster ride had like a 2.5 hour wait the entire day. It was just insane. Spent too much money on food, spent too much money on the park. But it was good.
It's part of it.
Lily loved it. She was in heaven. She wore her little Elsa dress. She was the cutest thing.
She opens her signature book probably once a week and asks us whose signature is whose.
Which we still need to print pictures for.
We have pictures and signatures of each one. So.
But one cool thing was at Disney, I didn't realize you could bring your rig right there in park. And so I think it was only like $10 more or something. So I think it's like $20 to park your car and then $30 to park your car and your rig. And so that worked out really great. So just a word of advice, if anyone has their rig and they're looking to go to Disney, just park right there.
It was surprisingly easy.
And we thought that we were going to be able, like, if Lily was going to want to take a nap, we could like go out and have her sleep in the RV and then come back in. We didn't end up using it for that, but it was still just a peace of mind to know that it was right there on the site.
Yeah, we were between places though, so I mean, we were leaving that night, next morning kind of thing, so it was just convenient to not have it sitting in a Walmart parking lot or something where we had to go back at 10 or 11 at night, go hook up, and then leave town.
Yeah.
So it was convenience for us, but it worked out good.
Yeah. So Disney, not a major highlight for us, but for Lily, it definitely was. She still asks to go on pretty much a weekly basis. I'll ask her what she wants to do for the day, and she says she wants to go to Disney World. So I see probably in the next couple of years when she's a little bit older, going back, but not yet. A little bit expensive.
Yeah, we'll wait it out.
And not as pregnant as I am. So, all right. So on to the fifth one. So this is going to be Crystal River. So this was kind of our first Springs area
down in Florida.
And main reason this was one of our favorites was we got to meet up. So we talked before about the Australian couple, Josh and Sim, that we met up with, and so this was kind of our last time, I think, seeing them.
Yeah.
So they met up with us and we went for a kayak ride, and then from the Fulltime Families Rally, Ben, Michelle, and their two kids from Intentional Adventure, they actually kind of went out of their way to come hang out with us for a couple of days, and so that was really fun. So
ended
really,
up at the same park even.
Yeah.
And we did a couple renovation, maintenance things for
Ben
both
got
of
to
us.
help hit their Ben with some of their underbody
Fix
and
the
stuff.
underbody of
so,
the rig, and we were having a black tank issue that they came by in the middle of, and we had some conversations, and otherwise we ended with some bonfires and shared meals, and it was a good few days. Yeah, it was great. It wasn't really, Crystal River was a nice area. We were kind of bummed on the actual springs because what was it, Three Sisters Springs? We didn't get a chance to see any manatees when we went there. The water was freezing. We missed them by a day.
Overall though, like the company in that area was really great. And then we also stayed at Rock Crusher Canyon. So on the flip side of Savannah, this Rock Crusher Canyon was an RV resort, and it was probably one of the best RV resorts that we stayed at. They had like we were
heated
there.
Pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
like
gorgeous.
a perfect heated pool. I'm a pansy with cold water, and it was like bath water enjoyable swimming.
Outdoor with like a big like screen top and everything, so it was on a nice sunny day. It was gorgeous.
Yeah. And they had a couple.
Massive park.
Yeah,
It was a huge park.
All right, so that was our top 5. On to some personal updates. Want you to know what is going on in our lives, which we don't really know what's going on
We have no idea.
in our lives. But a quick summary. We talked about it last time. We have our second daughter due July 10th. And originally our plan was to come back to Michigan and have the baby here. Since our last month, Ben unfortunately is no longer working in corporate America. For a variety of different reasons, and so we kind of had to change our game plan of how do we fuel these adventures. And so Ben is a super handy individual. We decided that we were going to give it a go at flipping a house and seeing what that did for us.
So here we are.
Which is why we are in the environment that we were in. But we bought this house officially the last day of our month cycle. And so we have been going at it here for a few weeks, so we'll give you guys an update on everything that we've been doing. But that is kind of where we're at. We are in Swartz Creek, Michigan, which is where my brother lives, so we kind of figured, well, we're already on this way anyways, and so we just came a little bit sooner than we expected. How's it going?
It's going. Slower than I expected, slower than I hoped. It's tough work, long nights. But it's for a good cause, right? I mean, it's all to be able to keep doing what we've been doing, and we left Kansas City, left corporate America and suburbia for a reason. So this is our way to keep that going. So hopefully we're done in about a month. So we've got a 2 to 3 month break from being on the road. Unfortunately, we're I think both itching to get back. We're very much missing the adventures and the I don't know, just places and experiences.
It's been nice to have some family time. Lily's had a lot of cousin time. I've got to spend time with my brother and sister-in-law, and so that's been really great. We're definitely itching to keep going, but we are enjoying our time here. And we're just kind of hanging out until baby comes. So we'll give you guys an update on the house, how that's all coming along. and kind of where our finances are this next month of being stationary living in the RV, because we're not living in the house. We have the RV parked, which you might be able to see out the window. RV parked right next door, and so we've been still living in that. So we'll give you guys a full update, give you kind of a tour of what we've been up to the last month coming up, but that is where we are and what we've got going.
That's it for now.
So thanks for following us along. We look forward to giving you guys future updates in the near future.
Yep.
Or late future, let's be real.